Hey y'all, today I will be going over the recipe to making cider-poached apples. This is a great fall dessert that I think is really good. So right now you're looking at the ingredients, and as you can tell it is very short and very easy. These are the directions for the recipe. Like I said, it's great and it's very simple. So you'll just be watching me do this. So the recipe says to get 4 apples, and that's what I did. I got Honeycrisp apples. I got these just because they're more on the sweeter side. I really don't like them because I'm more of a sour apple type of person, but since I want to make this into a dessert, I chose a sweeter apple. So this is just a video of me peeling the apples. It was a lot easier than I expected. So I peeled all 4, and it only took me about 10 minutes. It's very important to make sure that you clean your hands just because you're going to be touching the whole apple. So after I peeled the apples, this is what they look like. They're kind of just naked apples. So the recipe doesn't tell you to cut the apples in half, but I decided to do that just because I just wanted to just have them in halves. It was just my preference, so I went ahead and cut them. So the recipe calls for 6 cups of cider. This is the apple cider that I decided to get. Remember that apple cider and apple juice is not the same, so make sure that you pay attention to the label. So this is what my pot looked like after I added the cider. My pot is kind of small, so it looks a lot fuller than it actually is. So this is the cinnamon that I bought. I could not find cinnamon sticks, so I just went ahead and got cinnamon or ground cinnamon. It says about 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon is about the same as a cinnamon stick. I added 1/2 teaspoon, maybe a little bit more, and this is just what it looked like after I poured in my cinnamon. So this is just my apples coming to a simmer. It tells you to let them simmer for 30 minutes. So this is just me having to wait on them to get for the apples to get a little tender. So after that sat for 30 minutes, I took the apples out and let the cider kind of simmer / boil for, the recipe says for 40 minutes. It was probably around 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes to make a syrup sauce. So this is just my cider boiling down to make more of a syrup sauce for my apples. And so that was actually the last step, and so this is my apple and syrup. I've been really sick for a long time, so I didn't want to toast any nuts just because my throat's been hurting, so I really just wanted the apple and the cider. This recipe was actually really good. Like I said before, this is a super easy recipe, and it's really not, it's very hard to mess up. And if you want it sweeter, you can always add things like yogurt or whipped cream or ice cream. But like I said, I've been kind of sick, so this was actually a really great dessert that didn't hurt my throat and actually made it feel a lot better. Also, having the apple cider helps a lot just because you don't have to dabble in sugars. And if you're like me, I'm very heavy-handed. So if it says that have 1/2 cup of sugar, I may have 1/2 cup plus 1/4 cup of sugar. So having the cider really just helps out and makes it a lot easier and makes it so you don't add too much sugar to it. Like I said before, I really did like this recipe. It was great. It was simple. It's not that fancy, but it's a good and cheap recipe for a broke college student.